Well, that's Northover, and I'm Fagan. And this is the new 2024 MT09 SP. This is a bike that hasn't actually been launched, or sorry, I'll rephrase that. Hasn't been launched, hasn't had a world launch, a press launch. Yeah, this is a UK launch, and there's a reason why they don't really launch bikes in the UK. I mean, it's the height of summer. It's don't even say on the dash. It's about 15 degrees. Oh, hello. So let's get straight to it then. What is the 2024 Yamaha MT09 SP? Well, as before, as previously, we've got the Olin shock, we've got KYB front forks, and this year, for the first time ever, this is the headline here, we've got Brembo Stylimer calipers, Stylimer on a Yamaha. This is the first time we've seen them on a Yamaha. So we've also got the usual, you know, brush swing arm, a few other, we've got keyless ignition as well. That's not on the standard bike. I know people love that, don't they? And of course, obviously, you get all the updates from the 2024 standard MT09 on the SP, plus all the aforementioned bits. You also get some fancy bits in the dash. You get some extra modes, and as a new interface in here, which you can, very similar to the R1, you can change the traction control and all that sort of stuff in a nice sort of fancy interface. I had to miss the morning ride because this is 4 hours from my house, and I got back at I think 2 in the morning, so I missed the morning ride and instead turned up for lunch, which is obviously the most important part of the day. And then this afternoon we got a road ride, bit of a road ride, and we are going to a secret, undisclosed venue where I'm guessing we're going to do some skids and wheelies. I'm not that bright. I'm not that intelligent. I didn't have any else sort of secondary education, but I think we're going to go to an airfield. That noise, that bang. How did he turn it off? How did he turn the indicators off? I thought Boothie was being a moany little bastard when he was moaning about the indicators, but no, he's right. I don't like him already. I do like this new switch gear. I love it. I like the dash. Obviously the riding position is pretty much identical to the, or is identical to the standard bike, the stock bike, but it definitely feels nosier. I haven't spent a lot of time. I probably rode the 2024 MT09 for, I'm not gonna lie, probably 20-30 miles. St. George's Barracks, great guys, yeah, great guys. Working dog regiment. So just gone to sport mode because I was just thinking then, over the years this MT09 has become, you know, very much like the KTMs. The MT09 started raw. It was raucous, raw, almost sort of sadistic in its manners, and that's why everyone loved it. And over the years it's got a little bit more refined. I can safely say now I'm, you know, doing stuff with a constant throttle that you couldn't do before in the sportiest mode, which, look, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Has it lost a bit of edge? One thing that is for damn sure, this engine is absolutely beautiful. I've got to say, even in the short time on the bike, it's all adding up to be really smooth, and all the controls and the ancillaries are really, really polished. They all feel like they're in the right place. That even the levers are nice, and they've, you know, they never used to be. There's always kind of second-rate stuff, trying to keep costs down. And that quick shifter, man, the noise, not only the noise, but the execution. This is one of the nicest quick shifter blippers I've sampled in recent years. I'm going as far as that. It's really, really nice. Okay, so I've worked the indicators out now. It's just, I assume the lumpy bit would move when I press right, but it doesn't. I just, yeah, I get it. It makes finding the knob better, and you know, I love to find a knob, so if it makes finding the knob easier, I'm all for it. I mean, you associate sort of racier suspension, and particularly when you say, oh, I've got an Odin shock on the back, you kind of so instantly go, oh yeah, that's going to be stiffer and, you know, harsher and probably less forgiving on the roads. But this bump management is as good as anything. It really is. Remember the first few years of the MT series, and again going back to the sort of budget componentry, it was like, I mean, it was the worst bit of the bike. You had this amazing engine and a potential for amazing chassis, but it was just let down by suspension and brakes. And yeah, it's this is another giant leap for mankind. I think the technology I was most looking forward to, and this is ridiculous, I can't believe I'm even saying it, but the takeaway I took from Boothie's launch report was this quick shifter system, where it's an auto blipper shifter, right? But you don't need to have the throttle shut to downshift, which I find, I just find it amazing. You know, it goes against everything you know, but you can open the throttle, so you want to overtake a car, constant throttle down to third, and oh man, this is really bloody good. There's another thing for sure, is that its low speed etiquette has got a lot better. I mean, look, the engine's always been easy to use at the bottom, power everywhere, but it's more the throttle and the ride-by-wire that's received the love over the years. It does have that caged animal feel though. It's like, come on, get me out of here, let's go, take me to this runway and spank me. That's what it's saying. Not you, no, not the bike. Wow, this really is a private runway. What's the MT09 SP like? Green laning, so far so good. Not much of a side wind, always good. Oh. So we're at the runway, and we definitely do not want. What are you touching? Beautiful. Oh, that is nice, isn't it? We do not want wheelie control on. So the good thing about this is we're just going to vehicle function, stability control on or off. So we just go, well, you can turn off individual stuff, or you just go, fuck the electronics, let's go riding. So sexy. Rear ABS off. Basically we've got everything off now. Stick your electronics up your body. Fresh off the press, it wheelies. This wind is treacherous. Right, here's a full-way gangbang. I was like, what's that beeping? And this bike tells you you've left the ignition on. This is my perfect bike. Perfect. Well, that concludes today's stunts, and thus the fun for today, considering we live in England. So this morning I asked everyone on Instagram what they'd like to know about the 24 MT09 SP, and a lot of the questions were about the brakes, and rightly so, because as I mentioned, previous MT09s have been so good, the base has been so good, but suspension up until a few years ago, and the brakes have always let them down. And it's the same with all Yamahas, but this year they've addressed it. Obviously with the SP we've got stylomers, the first Yamaha ever to have Brembo's stylomers on, so it's a big thing, a big thing for Yamaha after years of making very bizarre choices about braking systems, because you know, you got really fast bikes like the R1 for example, and it's let down by shit brakes. But of course we've got the Brembo Master Cylinder, we've got Brembo stylomers, you've got a really nice lever feel, whereas before it was wooden and horrible. This is absolutely, I mean, look, it's not Ducati, it's not European spec, but it's the closest thing to it. And obviously we haven't tested the brakes on track, we've given it a good spanking on on the road, which of course we haven't been able to show, and you know, giving it some abuse on the runway. But you know, unless you're the brakes are significantly better than in previous years. The fit, like I said, the feel, the power, the whole execution is so much superior to that in previous years. So that should answer your question on that. I still haven't got used to the, what did Chris call it, the seesaw, and the hard press, soft press nonsense. I get it though. It's your thumb is naturally attracted to the knob there, so in many ways it works. I'm just not used to it yet. Another thing I say is though, it's definitely, as I said, it's way more refined, and I think it has lost a bit of an edge. I think, you know, the first MT09s were very raw, and the throttle is almost like they went, right, they want something raucous, we'll give them raucous, and it was almost a little bit too snatchy. The throttle was, those early ride-by-wire was a little bit too snatchy. But this is so everyday that you could use this as an everyday bike. It's a little bit less motard. It's still got a motard feel. This new bike, this new Evolution, it's an absolute teddy bear to ride. And I think some people will like that and some people won't. It's not a bad thing, that's for sure. But my god, this blipper, I want it. They should be compulsory on all bikes. From memory, looking back at the kind of design ethos and the build spec for the 2024 MT09, the stock version, Yamaha wanted more people on the bike, and by doing that they've had to make it more refined, more usable, and they've without doubt done that. But I still think there's still enough of an edge. It's still exciting. The motor, like I said, anyone who watches 44 Teeth will know of my undoubted love for triples. I mean, I honestly think they are the best engines in existence, except maybe V4s or Honda's V5, but I never rode it. My point is that this engine is so exciting, and regardless of what you do to it, whether you make it a bit duller, a bit tamer, a bit more usable, it's still exciting. Likewise the chassis. I think it started off as a kind of edgy super motard base. Obviously it was a super the next thing down from a super naked, but it started off as this sort of motard base hooligan, and it's slowly become more usable, more refined, a little bit more super sporty, exactly like the KTM Duke range. And there's no harm in that. I think it's become a more balanced, with putting my boring hat on for a second, it's become a more balanced, more accessible bike, so, and more versatile. Although I found the knob easier, I still can't get used to the knob. I'm not sure if I like the knob. I mean, I love knobs, but just not this knob. Knob fest. So, we've done a bit of a road ride. We went to an airfield, did some skids and wheelies. Now it's time to answer your questions. A lot of the questions around the brakes. There were a lot of questions about the looks and the headlight. Look, I mean, looks are utterly subjective, I get that, and I'm not going to go into this for too long, but I think this, with the brushed swing arm and just those SP looks, I think it looks damn good. Certainly from this angle, I think it looks damn sexy. I think, yes, the front headlight looks like, I think, what was it, Dimitri Zumpo, I can't pronounce the name, mate, a welder's mask. Yeah, or it looks like Kylian Mbappe after breaking his nose. Fraser L 91, what's it like compared to this Triumph Street Triple 765 RS? This is the closest thing Yamaha have had to the 765 RS. I mean, the RS is certainly way more super sport bike. It is a super sport bike and then dressed down to the road, whereas this, as I mentioned before, the MT09 has always been like a motard base, but for this year, it's got slightly more super sporty. It's evolved. Look, in terms of the engines, they're very similar. This has had more mid-range. It's designed for wheelies for a bit more fun, whereas the 765 is designed to have its wheels firmly on the ground. So the 765 is more serious. This is still more of a laugh. 23 Bun asks, how much does it suck being keyless? To be honest with you, it's all the rage these days, isn't it? The key had one perfectly good home in the hole. However, it's a sign of the times, and frankly, I like the little knob. I like the little on-off button. I like that little, it's quite arcadey, it's got 1980s, but it somehow works. Kyle.jo1, what tyres do they come fitted with? Bridgestone S23s. Again, lots of questions asking, is it worth the upgrade over the previous model or the previous MT09? Realistically, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, you know, it's worth the money. You're going to lose a lot of money. However, if you've got a PCP deal that's coming up and it's running out soon, or another finance deal, absolutely yes. I think you've got to go for a test ride and try it and tell me I'm wrong, because I think you will appreciate the differences, that's for sure. James N. Downs asks, how's that front end feel? Does it ooze confidence? Yes, it does. Certainly oozes a lot more confidence than the first MT09s. You know, as I said, it's kind of this evolution from motard to kind of super naked, and it's much smoother and easier to ride, and it suits a lot more people. Before, you had to sort of weight the front, very much like the sort of original Dukes, where you had to weight the front to get that feeling, whereas now you don't need as much weight transfer to help the front to turn and to be able to gain that confidence. So drawing comparisons to its rivals, I think, as again, lots of questions asked about the KTM and the 765. As I said, the 765 is more of a super sport bike. It feels like the front end is more connected to the road than the MT09, whereas the Duke, again, it's still a bit more motardy. I think this sits in between the two, really. Griffo254, is it a certified plunge magnet? I don't know. I mean, we are where we are today, Rutland Water. It's a Tuesday. Slim pickings. I didn't get the chance, I'm sorry. Daniel Turner, as a 6'4" rider, is it sized like a Grom? I'm not 6'4", I'm barely 6 foot on a good day, but I know a man who is 6'4", so I'll ask him right now. Sir John McAvoy, legend, road tester, author, anything else?
Some stuff.
You're 6'4".
I'm 6'4".
What's the MT09 SP like?
It's small.
Yeah?
But then everything is when you're 6'4" and a proper man-sized person. But what you probably want to know is how it compares to the other bikes, I suppose, maybe.
Well, you could. Well, let's get back. Let's get back to back here.
First thing to say is they're all small.
Yes.
Right? All bikes are small when you're this big, and the MT09, I would say, a little bit smaller than the KTM. Seat height's where it matters, right? Yeah. That's the big difference. If you can get a taller seat, you get a bit more space between the seat and the foot peg. And you can notice it, but it's all relative. I would say it's somewhere in between the KTM, which has got the tallest seat, and therefore the most comfortable, and probably the Triumph, somewhere down in that region in terms of seat height. So I wouldn't describe it as comfortable. Especially when you go fast on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the wind blast, there's just more of you out in the wind as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they're all small.
They're all small. Thanks, mate.
You're welcome.
Fraser L91 again, you're getting bang for buck here, mate. Is the difference in performance from the standard MT09 still worth the difference in price? It's a tricky one. I think if you're going on track days, absolutely yes. I think the fancy gizmos, the extra sort of modes you get will really help on track. Not to mention the suspension. I think, really, I'm not going to sit here and say it's 2 seconds a lap better, but in terms of refinement and the whole stroke being managed so much better than the standard stuff. As I said, I haven't spent a lot of time on the standard bike, but I know enough now to realise that it is superior. It's not necessarily stiffer, but it's just the way it controls the stroke. It's superior to that of the stock model. When you package up the SP's bolt-ons and extras and consider the more Waitrose finish and build quality to that of the Tesco's everyday standard MT09, it probably is worth the extra 1700-ish quid. There's also the additional suspension adjustment to enjoy, although if you're not a proper twister and don't like fiddling with knobs, then you might have to reconsider. I take the SP for the bling alone. And finally, I will answer this question for every third question is there a 99 coming? I don't know it, but I do know it. It is coming. We will see it. That's all I can say. Hopefully it's coming. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.